to yet another episode of the Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast, where I act as your ghost keeper, Jane.
What about me?
Well, what do you do?
What am I, chopped liver?
Maybe.
Let's not talk about liver.
No, let's not.
I am the ghost keeper named Vince. And together we are the ghost keepers
That's right.
of the castle. But we talk over each other all the time. So if you're new to this, welcome to the cacophony, as it's pronounced. I knew a guy who thought that the word cacophony was pronounced cacophony. And that was actually the name of a band that he really liked.
Is that how it's pronounced? Cacophony?
That's how he pronounced it. Then somebody told him it's called cacophony. And he's like, whoa, his brain just melted. Anyway, we don't talk about cacophony or anything like that. Well, kind of
Right now.
talk about cacophonous ghosts on here. The Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast tells you short, scary stories submitted by real people like you and like me.
I don't know if I'd say short. One of mine today is kind of long.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really? I wanted to share with everybody this hat that I was going to wear today.
Why aren't you wearing it if you were going to wear it?
Because I've got a nice big bald head and I want to show it off. But when I have to wear one of these baseball caps,
Which he never does.
I have one that I don't know where I got it. It says "Open books, open minds," and that's the only time you're going to see me with a baseball cap. Because usually I'm going to just set it like this for the rest of the day, for the rest of the evening.
Pretty, what are they? Fly? You look pretty fly.
Oh, it should be like this, funky fresh.
Funky fresh. Oh wait.
And my apologies if you're watching, if you're listening in podcast land. We broadcast this show live on YouTube every Saturday night. The end result that we podcast on Mondays is no different. It's just audio, except, occasionally we refer to weird things that I'm wearing and stuff like that. Controls.
Well, I was told that my microphone can't be heard. Why is that?
Oh, well, in that case, we're off to a great start. Let me tell you a couple of stories about things that have happened to me this week. I was out stargazing the other night. There were no stars because it was rainy and it was a dark night. You couldn't see much, so I did not see any UFOs. I woke up in the middle of the night and I crept down the hall and I thought I heard a noise, but I saw no ghosts.
Okay. Well, hey, we're gonna just kind of take a quick break here because I think I have to reboot. I have to reboot my audio thing, so we're gonna just hang on.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll be back and we're going to do this all over again and pretend we didn't do it the first time. Thank
And welcome, finally, to another episode of the Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast, where you can actually hear my voice. I am Jane, the Ghost Keeper.
And I am Vince, the Ghost Keeper. And anything else you hear is not really happening.
It's true, yeah. So
We just got off to a little bit of a false start here.
yeah. So I don't really know what to say now.
For those of you listening in podcast land, we do broadcast this live on YouTube every Saturday night. Well, not every Saturday night. We didn't have one last week because craziness
Because
in
we
the world.
didn't want to.
Because we didn't feel like it, okay? Now quit bothering us. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, things are weird in the world these days. And some days you get up and you just don't know how you're going to get through it. And other days you say, well, I've got a castle full of ghosts and they need to be fed. So we need to generate some sort of, what's the word? Riz isn't the word.
I think Riz is the word you're looking for. For real, no cap.
Man, we are not using those words correctly. We are old people.
Yeah, we actually were. Well, I was, yeah.
But we are cool people because we are Generation X, and you are not.
That's right.
Well, if you are, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, if you are, welcome to the Gen X Club.
But I do have a lot. Haha. I do. I really like the kids these days.
I do too.
I never used to like the kids
these days. I think they're awesome.
Kids these days, boy, I'll tell you something, man. Let me tell you a story about kids these days. The kids are all right.
Yes, they are.
Anyway, but we're not here to talk about kids. We're here to talk about ghosts.
That's right.
And we're here, semi-frequently. And we appreciate everybody who listens, who watches. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're happening to watch on your phone, there's a what is that thing? The little
I don't know.
There's this little button that you can click on. Oh, smash that like.
Yeah.
And hit the subscribe, but hit them each only once, because if you hit like twice, you like it and then you unlike it. So that doesn't work.
Well, we're off to a really solid start here.
Well, Jane, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you think about the state of hauntings in the world today?
Well, since I have yet to experience a solid, irrefutable one myself, I'd say weak. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying.
While it is true that in the last, how many days are we into this year already?
4,782.
But only like 49 days into the year. And we had a run of what
4,000.
you might call bad luck. Having said that, I don't know if I said this the last time, but it's a thought that I keep having over and over. The bad luck you have is sometimes better than the bad luck you could have had. Case in point in case. You know, when we had the whole thing with our water main breaking, but we had insurance. I had an insurance policy that was about to lapse, and it didn't lapse, and it got taken care of. You know, I had a mishap. I broke a finger in martial arts. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been all the fingers.
Could have been your face.
That might have been an improvement. I said the bad luck you have is better than the bad luck you could have had. Not the bad luck you have is worse than the good luck you could have had.
I don't really understand, but you know, that ghost that marches up and down your hall in the middle of the night calling your name, it could be in your bedroom closet scratching. And I mean, do I have it right? Am I doing it right?
I think so.
Okay.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Well, when in Rome.
I don't think that means what you think it means, but, you know.
Hey, I was thinking maybe you could stop waxing poetic and wax spooky for us.
Ooh. How do I do that? Oh, I tell a story, a scary story.
Please.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are ways that you can get your stories to us if you really had a real ghost encounter or something paranormal happen to you.
Not AI.
No AI stories, only real stories accepted here. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And we received a brand new story this month.
I haven't even
February
read this.
of 2026. Submitted by George Larson in an unidentified area of the world. This story is called Please Hold.
Yeah. Okay. No. Don't you touch me with that. Sorry.
We're going to add this part out of the podcast.
I don't know that we are. Vince just had to take a slimy peanut butter filled Kong away from our dog, and he almost put it on my lap.
Jesus Christ. Could you hear that? How loud it was? I'm sure everybody out there could hear that sound, and we're thinking, what is going on in their house? That was not a ghost.
All right, read us a story.
Hey, Jane, we have a brand new story here from a listener of the podcast and a visitor to the website, castleofspirits.com.
Hey, Vince, why don't you read it to me?
Say, Jane, I think I will. This story was submitted this month in February of 2026. Can you believe it's 2026? I can't. We're closer to 2070 than we are to 1970.
Come on.
Thank you very much. And this story is called The Juju Man. Calm down there. Kenya, 1978. We'd been living in Nairobi for 4 months and decided to leave town for a weekend trip to the Ark Lodge. It had been a hectic pack-out and transfer to the U.S. Embassy where I served as an attaché. My wife and I just needed a break. The Ark was a well-known game lodge built high in the trees in the Aberdeen forest. Another better-known lodge in the area is named Treetops. At both lodges, animals would be lured to the camps by baiting. Spotlights at night would shine over the bait, and the various animals would come out to feed. It was a photo shoot event only, as hunting big game had been outlawed many years before. The Treetops Hotel was more famous because it was in a place where a princess went up one night and came down as a queen the next morning. In 1952, Queen Elizabeth II of England, then a princess, stayed at Treetops. During the night, her father, King George VI, died. So the saying. As part of the Ark package, we lunched at a 2-story colonial house on a foothill outside the forest. This was the rendezvous point for the tourists taken to the lodge. After lunch, the tourists visited a corral that had been set up adjacent to the house. The corral was 1/3 of an acre in size and had a dozen tribe members selling trinkets to the tourists. The tribe members were Kikuyu, as the Aberdeen was part of their ancestral homeland. The Aberdeen was also the stronghold of the Mau Mau, mostly Kikuyu fighters who waged guerrilla war against the British colonialists in 1950. I recall seeing domestic animal skins, beadwork, and other tourist tchotchkes for sale. It was the same stuff that we could buy any day at the Nairobi market. This was strictly a tourist trap, and we did not buy anything. Well, sort of. There was a tribe member in his late 60s or early 70s who caught our attention, but his age was difficult to determine. He spoke no English, and helped by another man much younger with interpretation. The older man was a witch doctor or shaman or Juju Man, all the same. The Juju Man was wearing a traditional piece of cloth wrapped around his body and was otherwise unremarkable in appearance. There were no frightening masks or makeup or other theatrical effects one saw in the movies. The interpreter was wearing Western-style clothes, slacks, and a button-down shirt. For about $1 or $2, we could have our fortune read. While we knew it was all a swindle to earn a bit of money for the gullible tourists, we agreed. After all, the cost was equivalent to only about 25 cents. The Juju Man removed a small leather pouch from his person, and he shook the bag. He then opened it and dumped the contents onto the ground in front of us. The items I remember were bone and stone, and there were about a dozen little bits in total. He spoke to the interpreter, who in turn said that we had a child with a deformity. Yes, deformity was the word he used. He then cupped his elbow with his hand. Stunned, we told him that he was wrong. My only son, Michael, an infant at the time, was with us, and he did not have any sort of deformity. The interpreter asked if any of the family had a deformity, next pointing to his leg. We replied with an emphatic no. The Juju Man had struck out. The interpreter simply shrugged his shoulders as if to say, well, maybe the old man doesn't get it right all the time. We thought nothing more of the Juju Man's readings of his pouch contents. That was until my second son was born 5 years later. The delivery room nurse immediately brought our attention to the large hemangioma on his elbow, a bulging collection of blood vessels. The pediatrician assured us that as he grew, the blood vessels would naturally absorb back into his elbow, and he was correct. I never told anyone the story about the Juju Man we met that day in Kenya in 1978. That is, until now. George Larson, from wherever you are, submitting that story, the Juju Man, to let us know that sometimes prophecy can be delayed by up to 5 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you also hear stories like that where the baby being born with some kind of a quote deformity, or just something a little different about themselves like that. A lot of times you hear, well, so and so from like 100 years ago when the family was born with that same thing. Maybe this kid is like the reincarnation or something.
I always wondered about that. I always wondered how it's possible that reincarnation into a different body in different, sometimes in, obviously in vastly different genetic pools, gene pools, how that these physicalities can come through when it's really supposed to be, as we understand it, a spirit returning to a body on the earth. Right.
But from my understanding, those physical anomalies are often explained by past life experiences. So just saying, with the elbow thing, it's possible that in a past life, the whole samsara thing, right? You die and you come back around and you carry the karma from past lives. Maybe the person was injured in their elbow somehow. And this is like a thing that shows up every time that person is reborn, because there's something that they haven't addressed spiritually or karmically or whatever. But I don't know that this is a past life scenario, but it just kind of reminded me of that type of a thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I sometimes feel torn on the whole thing about telling the future, reading people's palms or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Because I think that for the most part, I do believe that it's possible to tell the future, to have a glimpse into the future. But I have a feeling that it's more like a flash, like of intuition or something like that, where somebody might have, might see something that is going to happen, or see something that has happened somewhere else, not, that they should have no way of knowing, but it's not anything that can be controlled. It's kind of like, well, I was going to say like electricity, but electricity can be controlled. Mm-hmm. But some other force like water, no, that can be controlled too. But something that we don't understand.
Well,
and but I find it hard to believe that there are people in the world who can just say like, "Hey, this is going to happen to you in the future. Give me a quarter."
I don't. Well, I think that I don't know. I feel so conflicted in what I believe here. Like, I do believe that it's possible to see someone's future, that somebody could have that ability, because if we think of time, we've talked about before not being linear, but kind of like the whole string theory thing, right? Like time touches itself in other places, and some people might have the ability to perceive that. You know what I mean? They can see where one timeline kind of touches another, or they can make those jumps so that they can see what's happening over there.
Yeah, I think I heard it explained one time. Was this in the movie, the Mothman Prophecies, or was it in the book, where the concept of being able to see the future was described as nothing more unexplainable or outlandish than somebody who has a vantage point from 1,000 feet away and can see two cars arriving, drawing closer to each other, and that they're coming closer and closer, and they're going to collide. You can see it because you're 1,000 feet up. But when you're down on the ground, you can't see that happening. So it's more a question of perception.
That's exactly kind of the point I was getting at. It's, having a different vantage point, like you said, and being able to see where what's happening in this timeline over here that's looped back around. And yeah, I do think it's possible. Do I think that everybody charging $0.25 on the street is doing that?
Yes.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, no.
And I think all of us get glimpses of it from time to time. I think we've probably all experienced at least a small bit of premonition, whether it's just you ask somebody, "Oh, how old is your kid?" And the second the word exits your mouth, you think 8 years old, and the person says 8 years old. Like those kind of things happen to me all the time, and I think that that's probably, just catching glimpses.
Well, not to like continue talking about my my big bad broken finger incident, but I knew something like that was going to happen that night. I had a just, it wasn't like a heavy premonition.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling of be careful. That's the only feeling I had. Mm-hmm. And although I tried to be,
and that kind of went on all day.
Happened. Had it?
Yeah, I think you were kind of carrying that with you all day. And then from what you told me leading up to it, it was like growing and growing and growing until it happened. And yeah, I think that could be a similar thing.
But does that mean, though, that once it almost feels like once you're on a track for something to happen, it cannot be changed?
Well, maybe whether or not it's going to happen, it can't be changed. It's going to happen. I mean, if you're on the track for it, it doesn't matter if you know about it or not.
Oh, shit. This is a heavy conversation. I'm through with it.
Stop swearing.
Are we done with the show? Oh, no. We're just getting started.
It's my turn to read a story.
Look, read us a story, a scary story.
Do you want the good one or do you want the
bad one?
No, they're both good, but one of them has something that happens in it. It's just, sorry. It's just one little thing. It's like a couple of words, and it made me go, okay.
Do they get their finger broken? I don't want to hear about it.
Off. Their finger's broken off. It's on the floor.
Shut up.
No. Do you want the one with the
super
super scary little thing in it? Or do you want to save that one for the last one?
You know what? Surprise me.
Whatever. All right. Let's see. This story is called Hampden-Sydney Haunting, submitted by Rob in Virginia, USA, November of 2003. Hampden-Sydney College is a small, all-male liberal arts college steeped in history and tradition. It was founded in 1776 and is nestled away outside of the rural town of Farmville, Virginia. The school grounds are filled with old brick dorms and school buildings that are surrounded by the thick woods commonly found in central Virginia. I graduated from Hampden-Sydney in 1997, and in my 4 years there, heard quite a few ghost stories based on the school's library. What follows is my only first-hand experience with the bizarre events that have been reported there for over 200 years. In late fall of my senior year, I was stuck on campus over a weekend, working on a paper due first thing Monday morning. The grounds were quiet, as there were no big events planned, and most of the students had headed off to other Virginia colleges. Around 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, I quit working and headed out to see if any friends had stayed on campus. Hampden-Sydney has a small walking campus with black-topped trails running between all of the buildings. Within 10 minutes, I'd caught up with a few friends who were bored and planning to walk down to an abandoned school building just outside of campus. With nothing better to do, and after having stared at a computer for most of the day, I agreed to go too. The building to which we headed was an old 4-bedroom house built in the mid-1800s that had only been abandoned within the last 10 years or so. The house had severed various use. Sorry. The house had served various uses for the college over the years and was listed in the National Registry of Historical Buildings. The college has a large endowment, and I found it strange that such a historical building had been boarded up and left to rot. We walked through the woods and arrived at the house just after 12:30 a.m. The house was set about a quarter mile off from the main campus. The windows and doors had been boarded up, but a little prying to some of the plywood over a downstairs window allowed us to slip indoors. It was immediately obvious that no one had been inside for a very long time. We crawled into what had been a living room with a few beat-down pieces of furniture and dust covering everything. Having only one flashlight held by my friend, our exploration of the house was a group activity. We walked around the foyer and living room, making a good bit of noise on the old wood flooring. Everything about the house had the same abandoned appearance. After about 5 minutes, we decided to go upstairs and look for evidence of previous occupants. The stairs up were even creakier than the first level floorboards. We reached the top of the stairs and walked into the first bedroom on the right. The second-story windows were not boarded up, and so the room was partially lit from moonlight. My friend turned off the flashlight, and we were quietly poking around when we heard footsteps downstairs. We each froze and listened to the floorboards as they creaked under someone's weight below. Despite being in this eerie old house, I remember being less scared about a ghost and more scared that campus security was about to catch us. The college had made it very clear that any trespass in the building would be severely punished. The noise from downstairs was quiet momentarily, and then we heard the stairs up to us begin to creak. The old wood made a distinctive sound, and we could clearly hear one person slowly approaching, step by step. I stood there, hardly breathing, with a sinking feeling from my throat to stomach. I didn't know what to think, other than a security guard probably would have called out if he suspected we were in the house. After the creaking reached the top of the stairs, all noises stopped. We, of course, stood perfectly still, not even looking at each other, but standing in the exact position we were in when we first heard the noise downstairs. Seconds and then minutes went by, but still no noise since the creaking reached the top of the stairs. I began to wonder if the noises had been in my head, but the other two guys were also frozen in silence, and we hadn't said a word to each other. After a long few minutes, we each walked to the doorway, and at the top of the stairs, no one. Walking around the top of the stairs, we realized there was no direction anyone could walk without making some noise. Something had come to the top of the stairs and disappeared. There was no real conversation at this point. The sinking feeling in my stomach had turned to a sharp chill, and adrenaline pulsed through my body as I quietly whispered, "We need to leave." 2 serious nods were the only response, but no one wanted to walk down into the dark from where the noise had originated. I walked along the 2nd floor hallway and found a narrow set of stairs leading to the back of the house. It seemed like a better idea to go down those stairs, so I headed down first with the flashlight. The narrow back stairway spiraled, and as I reached the halfway mark, a sharp crack rang out from below. The claustrophobia of being stuck in that awful stairway with who knows what at the bottom, and two guys blocking my path to the top almost paralyzed me with fear. I simply turned and pointed back up. There really was no need to have done so as we scrambled to the top. Getting out of the house was the only thought pulsing through my head. We went back to the main staircase and quickly descended with no interruption. At the bottom, we beelined for a window from which we'd entered and crawled out one at a time. Climbing out of the window head first, falling onto the grass, and breathing the cool night air was an enormous release. But there was one final surprise for the night, which has always been the strangest part for me. Standing in front of us, barefoot, in boxer shorts and a bathrobe, was a student whom I recognized, but whose name I couldn't place. As the last guy crawled from the window, he just stared at us, and we stared back. Of course, our first question we asked was, "Did you just go in that house?" He looked at us with almost no expression on his face and said, "No, there's no way I'd go in that house." One of my friends who knew him as an acquaintance asked him what he was doing out at 1 a.m. on a cold night, barefoot and in his bathrobe. His response gives me chills even as I write this. He told us in a very calm voice that he had been sound asleep in his bed all the way on the other side of campus. He had awoken knowing that someone was in this house and that they needed to get out. He couldn't really explain it. It wasn't a dream as much as he just woke up and knew that he had to come over immediately. The entire situation was overwhelming, and we all quickly parted ways down separate paths. The house itself was severely damaged in a fire less than 2 months later. The county fire department listed the fire as electrical, which is absurd because there couldn't have been electricity running to the house. In a controversial move, the college bulldozed the remains of the building to make room for 2 new dorms. I would love to know the history of the building, as it provided my only brush with the paranormal. Thank you again to Rob in Virginia, USA, for submitting Hampden-Sydney Haunting in November of 2003. And that is how you do a scary story. Rob, immaculately written. That
really
was so well written and such a good story. And we would, if Rob is still out there and happens to hear this, we would love to hear if you ever found out anything more about that building.
Or if anybody else listening to this heard about that and has some information on it, that'd be awesome if you could write us and let us know.
And if you're the guy in the boxer shorts and the bathrobe, we want to hear from you too, bro.
We want to see if you ever got that sleepwalking problem under control. I sleptwalk a couple of times when I was younger. I think a lot of it was stress-induced.
Yeah. We used to have night terrors, right?
I used to have night terrors.
You still kind of do sometimes.
I do. I don't know, man. These night terrors were something else. I had a night terror one time after seeing that 1975 TV movie, The Legend of Lizzie Borden.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
With Elizabeth Montgomery as Lizzie Borden. And that's not even a paranormal story, but it just scared the hell out of me. And I watched it, because you remember the old days when TV movies were really scary?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That movie was terrifying. And I remember just having a night terror about it, waking up in a sort of half sleep, half waking state. And I think my mom was trying to, talk to me and find out what was going on. And I like grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper and I started drawing what was going on in my head, scribbling it down.
You've never told me this.
No?
No.
And what I drew was a skull with holes in it. Just like the skulls that they show in the courtroom scene.
Like Andrew Borden's skull or something.
Yeah, after it had been, hit so many times. And just, I guess, seeing that at such a tender young age, I was probably like 9 years old or something. It was a rerun, so it wasn't like a brand new movie, but I guess it was the first time I'd seen it. That really made an impression on me. We have that movie on DVD. And when we watched it, I was kind of like watching that scene to see if it was as disturbing to me now as it was back then. Of course it wasn't, because, I had all this time to sort of see all kinds of horrible things, like, things you see on the news today.
For reals.
Makes you miss the old days.
One day we need to go, because it's a bed and breakfast now, the Lizzie Borden house. And I really want to stay there and like, maybe we can do a little investigating. Maybe we can do a live Castle of Spirits episode from the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. Smash that like button if you think we should do that. Did you like that's my YouTuber voice?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And if you're not a YouTuber person, and if you just like listening to us on Podcast Land, make sure you smash that review, leaving a review at Apple Podcasts or Spotify, where the hell you listen to the show. And let other people know about it, because, that's the only way that we're ever going to get to the point where we can go to see a place like the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast. Or we've been to the Stanley Hotel twice. And the last time we went, we got room 217, the room that Stephen King stayed in. It's a little bit more expensive. Yeah, it'd be a big high roller, right? We saved a couple bucks and spent the night there. Very sleepless night. We've talked about this in the past, so we won't bore you this time. But
next time, watch out.
But yeah, it would be so cool to do a live broadcast from there, from that room.
Yeah, from any of those. Or room, what is it, 402? That's supposed to be the one that's like super haunted.
4 something or other.
Yeah.
I think it's on the 4th floor.
Right, that's why I said 402.
Yeah. It's not 402. You're thinking about
I'm going to punch
1402 or
No,
whatever.
I am not thinking about that.
That movie sucked.
I hated that movie.
Anyway.
I know everybody else loves that
no
movie,
shade
so it's
to,
just me.
To John, what's his name?
Cusack,
or Stephen King, or whoever it was that directed the movie, but we just didn't like it all that much, Hell, I lost my glasses. I can't read another story. Sorry. Could you entertain the folks while I search for
sorry. I was reading chat. Sandra said, I listen to your stories on Spotify and enjoy every one.
I have got my goddamn glasses on. They're
Were
on my
you looking
face.
for your glasses?
I just said it. I said, where am I? Can't find my glasses. They're on my face. This is how it starts, guys. This is how it starts. Mark the date.
Yeah, I'm going to have him put in a home tomorrow.
Ow. Okay. Now I'm like hurting my finger and everything. Oh, God, help me. Seriously.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I don't know, but why don't you just read us a new story?
All right, I will. You want a new story? You got it.
Okay.
But I have to get comfortable here because this is ridiculous.
Okay.
Okay. This is not a news story. This was submitted in January of something called 2005.
Oh, those were the days.
Weren't they? From Jennifer in North Carolina, USA. This is called Moravian Falls, North Carolina Ghost. right? That looks like Moravian.
Are you serious?
What? Is that the
I'm
story?
really angry at you right now because this is the other story that I have picked.
Are you serious? Okay, you know what?
This is the first time this has ever happened live on the podcast.
No, let's do this.
I'm mad because this story has there's at least one little thing, just one little thing that happens in it.
Okay. No, I want you to read this story. I want you to read this because I would
And
rather.
it's long. You don't like to read long stories.
That too.
Okay, good.
All right, so we're gonna play a game, guys. This is why it would behoove you to be in chat and YouTube sometimes. We're gonna play a game.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the Castle of Spirits, True Ghost Stories database.
Okay.
And I want you guys to give me a search term.
Okay. Somebody in chat, tell Vince what to search.
I mean, you can tell me to search for eraser. You can tell me. I don't know why I said that.
Okay, search for eraser.
Blood.
No, not blood.
Ghost, not ghost. Ghost is a little bit too obvious.
Ghost is going to come up with
I want
almost 5,000 entries.
I want this to be a little bit interactive. So I want, hopefully, somebody who's listening to this live can smash a like and then type a couple of words.
There
for
we
me
are
to
with that
search.
smashing the like again.
Mash the like.
Yeah. Nobody has given any suggestions yet.
Well, and there's a bit of a delay, so we'll give them a few minutes.
There is that.
We've had great success at this in the past. You can actually play this game
I did this
yourself.
last week, actually.
Yeah, you can play this game yourself. You can try and go to thecastleofspirits.com. Broom.
Sandra said broom.
BROOM.
No, BRUM.
BRUM. That
Just
spells
kidding.
moon. All right.
All right. Now, just pick one that has the creepiest title and read that. And this could be good or this could be bad.
All right.
It's like ghost story roulette up in here.
Right. This was submitted in January 2006 by Grace in New York, USA. This is called My Creepy New House. This past spring, 2005, my fiancé and I decided to move from California to New York for school. We decided to buy a house rather than rent because we have a good-sized dog that probably wouldn't be welcome in an apartment. When the time came to close on the house, Pete, my fiancé, flew to New York to seal the deal and check on the house, as it would remain empty for 1 month while we settled our California affairs. He had a list of household items that I had asked him to get and leave there for me, paper towels, a new broom, etc. So once he and the realtor were done checking the place, Pete went to the store to get my goodies. Upon his return, he noticed that the drapes were open, although he thought he remembered the realtor drawing them closed. He closed them again and went into the kitchen to put the stuff away. He was stacking everything on one of the counters. Then he turned to get something else and noticed one of the cupboard doors standing open. He thought it had been closed, but he didn't bother to think much about it. He just closed it, turned to put the item he had grabbed on the counter, turned again, and the cupboard was open again. This spooked the blank out of him. He closed it again, then left the kitchen because he was freaked. He went into the dining room and saw that the curtains were open again. He looked and the living room drapes were open as well. Oh, Pete, get out of there. That did it. He hastily shut the drapes and went back to the kitchen to dump the rest of the stuff on the counter. The cupboard was open again, and the kitchen was icy cold. He left fast, came back to California the next day, and told me all about our terrific new haunted house that I had to move into in 1 month. Some weird things have happened since we got here. Both of us have heard the other speaking or calling. For example, Pete swears he heard me calling his name from downstairs one night when I was actually out of the house at the time on a walk around the neighborhood. He even said I used my tone that I use when I want him to come to do something for me quickly. This thing knows my voice. Another time I was upstairs when I heard Pete downstairs cursing and sounding upset as if he had spilled coffee on himself or something. I went downstairs to see what was up, and nothing was. Pete was sitting quietly reading a book. When I asked him what had happened, he had no idea what I was talking about. Man, this is a good story. The worst thing happened one night when I was in bed asleep. Pete telecommutes from home, and he works third shift, so most nights I sleep with just my dog, Turkey, at the foot of the bed.
Turkey.
Turkey. I love it. I was going to admonish her for not telling us the dog's name. Oh my God, Turkey. You hear that, Freya? You got off lucky.
You could have been named Turkey.
Back to the story. Well, this particular night, I woke up out of a sound sleep for no reason. I looked at my clock, 2:30 a.m. Then I noticed that Turkey was growling real low in her throat. Turkey. It was so low that it didn't register at first. She never growled like that before. Then I heard someone moving outside my room, like they were walking from Pete's office to the bathroom. I haven't been here long, but I already know the characteristic creaks of the house. I would have gone back to sleep thinking it was Pete, but Turkey made me nervous. So I reached across the bed, and sure enough, Pete was asleep right beside me. It was his night off, I remembered then, and I looked so hard into the dark toward my bedroom door, I thought my eyeballs would fall out of their sockets. The walking sounds and Turkey's low growling continued for a minute. When the creaking stopped, Turkey found her nerve and started her usual loud growl. I guess that's how I knew that whoever was out there was gone. Other little things. Turkey adamantly refuses to go into the basement. The house's side entrance leads up into the kitchen or down into the basement. If we bring the dog into the side door, she freezes on the landing and you have to literally push her up the stairs. The one time I tried to coax her into the basement, she nearly fell down the stairs in her effort to run up and back into the kitchen. Something else. After the house purchase was complete, but before we moved in, Pete had a series of nightmares about the house. Ugh. They all featured a creepy old lady. In one dream, Pete was looking out the window of an upstairs bedroom of the house, looking down onto the street. As he watched, the creepy lady glided along the sidewalk as if she were on a conveyor belt. She stared directly at him the whole time and turned her head to keep Pete in view as she swept past. Pete said the lady terrified him. Once we were in the house, our new neighbor told us that an old lady used to live here. She was removed from the house by her children, whom the old lady wouldn't allow into the house since their father died many years before. She had gone senile, so the kids put her in a home, and they entered the house for the first time in 10 years. It was all messy and cluttered with weird angel statues and other pseudo-religious icons all over the place. Apparently, she had gone mad in the house. She has since died, and who knows, maybe she's the one haunting this place and Pete's dreams. And that was my creepy new house from Grace, New York in January of 2006.
Okay.
Dude, that was a good story.
Sandra, thank you for your suggestion.
Wow.
I never would have searched the word broom. B, I think Turkey's name should be Chicken. And
Good point.
And see, that is one of the most terrifying stories I've ever heard on this site. Like the gliding and staring, that was horrifying. How did we find such a good story searching the word broom?
Because this website is a gold mine, and there are almost 5,000 stories on this website, and you think we've read them all? No, of course not.
Dude, I should have searched the word broom and read that because that's creepier
I know, you're stuck with the other one. But
that's so funny, though. That we picked the same
Grace
story.
in New York. Grace. Unless you've gone back to California with your tail between your legs, please let us know if you're still out there. Let us know what happened.
Yeah.
I want an update. I mean, it's only been 20 years.
Yeah, we need more. But it did make me think, about him telling her about the house being haunted then. You get to move into a haunted house in a month. I'd be like, let's go right meow. Like, I don't want to wait a month. You said this creepy stuff happened. Let's have it.
I think that if somebody's afraid of a haunting in their house, what they need to do is
not be afraid.
Well, what they need to do is they need to try and capture the activity, put up a bunch of cameras in your house, recording everything, and it'll never happen again.
Right.
It'll never happen
because ghosts are camera shy.
They are either camera shy or ghosts are a phenomenon that isn't actually occurring in the real world, that only occurs in our minds.
You know what it is?
Sometimes shared, if you have a shared experience, you're sharing a hallucination or some sort of psychic vibe.
No, you know what it is?
No, what is it?
Schrodinger's ghost.
Schrodinger's ghost.
If you don't observe it, the place is either haunted or not haunted. But if you observe it, then it collapses onto itself and it happens or it doesn't happen. And more often than not, if you're observing, it doesn't happen.
How does that work again?
Schrodinger's ghost.
I like it. I think that's the title of this episode.
I think it is too.
But we need to expand on it a little bit to make it
Well,
worthwhile.
Schrodinger's cat. The cat is in the box and there's a vial of poison in there. And the cat...
It's a thought experiment.
Yeah, you can't see the cat because it's in the box. And so without observing the cat, you don't know if the cat is alive or dead. It's only until you open the box that both realities kind of collapse and one of them happens. The cat is alive or the cat is dead. And so Schrodinger's ghost, if you don't have cameras all over your house, the house is either haunted or it's not. You might experience it both ways, but you can't say either way. But if you put the cameras out, then you find out for sure. And 9 times out of 10, maybe 100 times, 99 times out of 100, nothing happens. So, yeah.
What kind of phenomenon or what kind of proof on camera would be enough to prove to anybody that something is actually happening? Because a door slamming or something like that, you can watch these things on like TikTok.
Yeah, these days, I don't think that there's really anything that you could catch on camera that would absolutely definitively prove to anyone, because we have so many camera you can do all of these camera tricks that they used to not even be able to do in movies. Yeah. You can do them on your phone now. And then with AI and everything on top of that, I don't think that video is the definitive proof that it used to be. So I don't know what the definitive proof would be. But
the definitive proof would be for somebody to
experiencing it
the
themselves.
Phenomenon.
Right. But a first-person experience.
Yeah. But hasn't that always been the definitive proof? It's like, I will not believe something until it actually happens to me.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of how I am. Like, these are things I desperately want to believe in. And I don't believe that everybody experiencing them is lying about it or even misconstruing what the experience was. But until I experience something irrefutable for myself, ghosts are either real or not real. Schrodinger's ghost.
I like it.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Now, tell me, Ghost Keeper Jane.
Oh, yes?
Do you happen to have another story that you may try to impress upon me or frighten me with?
Did you even read this story? Sometimes he doesn't even read the stories. He just finds one and he's like, yeah, it looks good enough. Did you even read it?
I
The Moravian Falls?
I kind of scanned through it, but
Did you see the part that scared the hell out of me?
I don't think so. But the thing is that this was like 6 hours ago, and that short-term memory of mine ain't quite the same as it used to be. Who are you?
I don't know even. So,
You look good.
okay, thanks. So this story is called Moravian Falls, North Carolina Ghost.
Hey, I was going to read that one. Oh,
I know, shut up.
Sorry.
And it was submitted by Jennifer in North Carolina, USA, January of 2005. Hi, my name is Jen, and I thought I would share one of my many ghost experiences with you. About 4 years ago, me, my husband, and our daughter, who was about 2 at the time, moved into a new rental mobile home in Moravian Falls, North Carolina. We thought we had hit the jackpot of rental homes. It was new and had everything from the glamour bath to lots of space. We were very happy with the thought of moving in. But, as we all know, appearances can be deceiving. Our first night in the home, my husband had to work night shift at the restaurant where he was a manager. So it was just me and my daughter there, unpacking and so on. About 9 p.m., I put her to bed and went to take a bath. I left the doors open to the bedroom and bathroom with the baby monitor on, so I was sure I could hear my daughter if she woke up. Now, for anyone who has ever been in a mobile home, you know if you stand on one end with all the doors open, you can see straight through to the other side. Yes, there is a point to my saying this, so keep it in mind. Anyway, I had just gotten in the tub when I heard voices on the baby monitor. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but it was voices all the same. So, to be safe, I went to check on the baby and see if I had left anything on. TV, radio, etc. I found nothing. Baby asleep, nothing on, just nothing. Thinking I was going nuts or had been up too long, I went back to the tub. No sooner than I got there, the voices started again. By this time, I was mad. Being in the country by ourselves, I thought we had teenagers outside messing around. So I put on clothes, grabbed my .38 and my flashlight, and outside I went. I found nothing. Not an animal, not a person, just nothing. I went back in with the parting shot of if someone is out there and I find them, they were going to wish they were dead. Back in the tub, I heard the voices again, only this time I understood what they said. She thinks we're alive. She thinks we're human. After that, keep in mind all the doors in the house are open, I heard pad, pad, pad across the carpet. Pad, pad, pad across the lino into the kitchen. Across the carpet in the bedroom, stopping at the bathroom door. I heard whatever it was, but never saw a thing. I told my husband what happened, and he blew it off as nerves in a new house. Nothing else happened for about a week. Then I started having nightmares. Things would disappear. You would see things floating and so on. It would never happen with my husband there, only when he was gone, so he thought I was cracking up. Until one night he woke up saying a lady just broke into the house. Then he chased her into the pantry where she disappeared. Doors locked and no forced entry when we checked the rest of the house. Another time, the voices on the monitor started when he was home. so I woke him to hear. But no sooner had he woken up, fire jumped from the monitor. No, not sparks. Fire. And fried it. He saw the fire. Other than that, for a time, nothing went on, other than feeling like you were being watched. My husband had to work at night yet again, and things went from bad to worse. By this time, I had learned to blow the thing off with the thought of, oh well, here we go again. So when the TV went off and on, or the lights would cut back on and off, and I would tell it to stop. I had put my daughter to bed about an hour before, and I was folding clothes, when I heard her let out a scream I never knew a child could make. As a mother, that is a sound I never want to hear again in my life. It made my blood run cold. I was sure something was trying to kill her, so I ran for her room. This is the scene I found. My daughter standing up in her crib, screaming in the face of this big black thing. I don't know what else to call it. It was as wide as the crib, taller than the ceiling, with its back touching the roof and its head hitting the wall. As a person, I was scared out of my mind. As a parent, I was ticked off. All I remember thinking is this thing is trying to hurt my baby. How to explain what happened next? It took one look at me, and I don't know if it ran, gave up, or what, but I got the impression it didn't want to mess with me. It melted into the floor and was gone. That was the last face-to-face challenge we got. After that, we would have power surges where everyone else would have power, but we wouldn't. The power company never could explain why. It would go out and then come back on after about 20 minutes. We got to the point where we expected it to happen all the time and had a flashlight on the counter ready. One night, yet again, while my husband was at work, and yes, by this point I hated it when he had to work nights, the power went out. I went to get the flashlight that was on the counter 2 seconds before, and it was gone. I heard my daughter, who had been playing on the floor, running and screaming with this booming sound chasing her. Here I am in the dark, and I can't find her. She trips over a toy phone, the kind kids have that makes sounds and light up. I grabbed her and the phone. As I grab her, this thing hits my back, and it was like being washed over by pure evil. Yet again, as soon as I'm there, it goes away. I used the phone as a flashlight to find my keys and went to my husband's job in my PJs and stayed there until he went home. It was the last night that I stayed in that house. My husband and some friends packed up, and we moved in with my mother until we found a new place. About a year later, my husband, who grew up in Moravian Falls, finally offered up the fact that he knew all along that most of the area around the falls was haunted, and that his parents had sold out and moved to Charlotte because his sister was having trouble with a, quote, big black thing. Strange, huh? Many things went on inside that house and in the area that are just too many to name. I'm always shocked not to find Moravian Falls listed as a haunted place in North Carolina. When we moved out from my mother's and unpacked, I put a box in the bathroom closet in case I needed one. Well, I did need it about a month after I moved in, and guess what was in the box? The missing flashlight. My daughter started saying there was a big black man in her room. Needless to say that we moved from the country and didn't move back until recently. So far, nothing has happened, and I hope it stays that way. Thank you for your time. Sorry it was so long. I have plenty more stories to tell, but this one will stick with me for the rest of my life. And Jennifer in North Carolina, USA, we would like an update. I know this is 21 years old, Moravian Falls, North Carolina ghost, but you moved back. You have to have a story. So if you're out there, update us. And I just have to tell you that when I was searching for stories today, I read that thing about the old lady being, or I don't know, I pictured an old lady running into the pantry and disappearing. That's horrifying.
It is. And I do remember reading that part, but it startled me again. What I really find interesting, besides the fact that we both landed on that same story accidentally, probably using entirely different search parameters, search terms, was that the story that I read previous they were very similar. They were about somebody moving into a new house. I mean, I know it's a trope. Yeah. Somebody moves into a new house and it's haunted, but then the husband seeing a woman, in this case, or in my case, the guy seeing the woman gliding across the ground, but in his dreams, albeit in his dreams. But still, it's got that creepy vibe. I love the synchronicity. Mm-hmm. We seem to generate a certain kind of synchronicity, like we're in sync or something.
Wow. It's almost like we've been together for more than a quarter of a century.
You'd think. Mm-hmm. You'd think. It certainly feels like that sometimes, right, guys?
I mean, sometimes it feels a lot more than that, right?
Yeah.
Like at least 100 years.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
I wanted to actually take a step back, and I wanted to look into our website messages. Mm-hmm. We've been getting messages on our website, and sometimes they're really cool, and sometimes I'd like to just sort of acknowledge the fact that we've received them.
Yeah.
This is kind of a housekeeping portion of the episode here. It would be the lounge, correct? Mm-hmm. We had a couple from Christy that I wanted to wrap up really quickly.
Okay.
Christy wrote, "Just listen to the Dead Can't Dance episode. You talked about Wellington Paranormal, and I tried to do an impression of Viago from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
which is strange. But if any of the listeners live in Canada, you can stream the series on CBC Gem." Thanks, Christy, for that information. If you guys haven't seen that show, check it out. Mm-hmm. Highly recommended. Christy also wrote something interesting. She said, "Just listen to the Nighttime Nefarities episode. You were both chatting about the Cherry Street story and wondering if either had heard of a haunted street before." And Christy says, "The haunted house I grew up in was just one of 6 houses on our street that all had paranormal things happening. The street and property that 5 of the houses plus an office building used to be a part of were a larger property that was sold off and developed. There are many stories that involve the big manor house, but everyone who lived in the houses on our street kept experiencing things. I know a few people who live there still. Things still happen. My old house, though, no one manages to live there for more than 1 to 2 years before the house is back up for sale again." That's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
And haunted neighborhoods?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I want to look into a little bit more, because I think it would make an awesome future episode talking about haunted neighborhoods.
Right? Like, to me, that feels ultimately cozy.
It really does.
This whole little community of people, and we're all dealing with this same thing together.
You have a block party, you share a beer and a ghost story.
It's like a block terror party.
And then Chrissy said, "I'm slowly catching up on episodes. I just hit the first Saturday Fright Live." This is a while back. Mm-hmm. "The mention of the old photo gallery made me wonder would you guys ever consider putting up a photo gallery for folks to submit? Might also be a bad idea, but it could be fun to see what photos people have managed to capture over the years.
I'm not averse to it. I think that my one hesitation with it is that the world and technology has changed so much since the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And where in the 90s, all we would have gotten was just an influx of orbs, orb photos. And I happen to be of the mind that orbs are absolutely nothing but
dust particles,
dust and bugs flying in the air. I've done enough ghost hunting in my days, indoors, outdoors, whatever. I've taken photos of bugs and rain and dust, and I just have never seen an orb that's convincing. And so I wouldn't want to have a photo gallery full of orbs. But these days,
again, that's that we talked about that just a little while ago.
Yeah, but these days, I think we get digital glitches, we get AI garbage, we get. It would just be really, really hard to wade through photos today, I think, to find something that is potentially paranormal and not orbs or AI garbage. So, like I said, I'm not against doing it. I just don't want to comb through a bunch of junk to get to like one photo that might be kind of interesting.
I think we should go onto TikTok. We have a TikTok channel that we never do anything with, but I think that we should go onto TikTok and like watch and react to some of these purported paranormal videos, because I think that you and I would probably be able to we'd be like myth busting all of them.
Oh, you're talking about making reaction videos
to these other alleged ghost videos.
Let us know if you want us to do reaction videos,
because I think that could be fun.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think that we are healthily skeptical. I can be creeped out, absolutely, but I was also creeped out, not gullible.
Yeah, I was creeped out by The Exorcist and the Blair Witch Project, and I knew those were not real.
Right.
So, I mean, it's fun to let yourself get creeped out, but to keep yourself anchored in the real world where there are real problems happening every day that you need to stand up and fight. The ghosts can wait until Saturday night, but Monday morning I want to get out there and fight the good fight, people.
So, I don't know that. I think that's pretty much all I had. And now I hear the music coming down the hall, and I know the ghosts are hungry because you didn't feed them lunch today.
Oh my! Mm-hmm. Well, I was kind of low on pork rinds, and I know they were hovering around me saying, "Give me some of them pork rinds."
Yeah, I don't want to hear the excuses. All I know is they are hungry, and it is your turn.
All right. I will don the anti-ectoplasm suit and my gag reflex blocker.
Yeah, your gag reflex inhibitor mask.
Thank you. Oh God, maybe we should call our episode that.
Gag reflex inhibitor mask.
Before we go, we want to ask everybody to make sure that you tell a friend about this, or leave a review for the podcast. Continue to watch and to listen. If you're a listener, cross over to YouTube and subscribe. Maybe give us a like.
Smash that like button and leave us a comment.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually improve the quality.
It won't.
Of the video broadcast.
No.
If we do, we got some ideas, guys. Hang with us because we're going to turn this.
It's a year of transformation. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So yeah, if you like this podcast, you should tell a friend.
And if you don't, if you have a problem with this podcast, you know what? Keep it to yourself. How about that?
No, tell 2 enemies.
Oh yeah, tell 2 enemies, and then just shut up. Like us.